The top stories tonight in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte's State of the Nation address 5 days from now to focus on the COVID-19 pandemic.
The country's health department requires government hospitals to increase their bed capacity.
The Department of Education reiterates that limited face-to-face classes are not compulsory. Find out why gadget options for students to use for online distance learning.
Hong Kong now requires residents to wear face masks in indoor public areas while it records its highest daily total yet.
ATP announces cancellation of 2020 City Open. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, July 22, 2020. I am Horlene Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvrev.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news, President Rodrigo Duterte's State of the Nation address 5 days from now will focus on the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Malacanang correspondent, Rosa Licons, will give the details why.
The coronavirus pandemic is a global concern in which more than 600,000 lives have perished. In the Philippines, less than 1,800 have died due to the virus and less than 80,000 have been infected. According to Malacanang, COVID-19 will be the focus of President Rodrigo Duterte's fifth State of the Nation address or SONA on July 27. In particular are the effects of the health crisis as well as the government's response on it. President Duterte will also present his administration's roadmap for recovery.
By theme, well, I think it will be obvious that he will be talking about COVID-19, impact on the country, and steps taken to deal with COVID-19 at saka kung paano tayo makakabangon sa abirya at sigalot na nagresulta dahil sa COVID.
According to Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, the President's fifth SONA is markedly different from the previous addresses because the President will address the nation in a chamber not filled with government officials and dignitaries who usually attend such event. But he says what's more essential is to present the government's report to the Filipino people.
Such a report is more important now more than ever, as government works to chart a safe course for our country as it navigates through unfamiliar and uncertain times, as it works to recoup the gains we have made in the President's first 3.5 years.
Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Navotas City, which is now under a 2-week lockdown, is second to Cebu City when it comes to the number of COVID-19 cases per 1 million residents. One of our senior correspondents, Ray Pelayo, will tell us why.
For every 1 million residents, Navotas City would yield 4,225.1 COVID-19 cases, considering its confirmed coronavirus cases as of today. Its most recent records is 1,054 cases out of its almost 250,000 residents. Cebu City is on top with 6,320 COVID-19 patients out of more than 922,000 residents. That means for every 1 million residents, it would record 6,850.1 cases. The cities of San Juan, Mandaluyong, Pasay, Mandaue, Cebu, and Manila placed 3rd to 7th respectively in this tally. In the middle of its COVID-19 battle, Navotas City has recorded more than 3,000 violators with penalties ranging from 250 pesos to 4,000 pesos. Violators include non-wearing of face covering and going outdoor without any official business or essential activity. And from today until July 31, about 1,000 Navotas City residents will be taken to Palacio de Maynila in Malate every day for a free COVID-19 test. The city will also subject other residents to COVID-19 testing, prioritizing minors, persons with disability, and senior citizens during the 2-week lockdown. So far, around 9,500 Navotas residents have undergone a swab test. The city has increased its contact tracing force from 4 teams to 15 at present. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's health department requires government hospitals to increase their bed capacity. Our health correspondent Aiko Miguel details why.
Several hospitals in Metro Manila have declared either full capacity or almost full capacity of their COVID-19 beds. Hospitals worry that the country's health system could no longer manage the medical needs of patients because of the consistent increase in COVID-19 cases in the Philippines. According to the DOH, they have required government hospitals to expand their bed capacity from the initial 30% designated bed capacity for COVID-19 cases.
Ang public hospitals, they are mandated 30% of their bed capacity dapat allocated for COVID. Kapag nag-surge, pwedeng mag-increase to 50%. Pag kailangan pa rin, may increase until 70% of their bed capacity para doon.
Private hospitals are required to allot 20% of their bed capacity for COVID-19 cases, then extend it to 30% once there is a surge in cases. This move is part of the One Hospital Command launched by the DOH. One Hospital Command is like a networking of hospitals to accommodate patients who cannot be accepted by other hospitals that have reached their full bed capacity. According to Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, other hospitals like the Lung Center of the Philippines, Philippine Children's Medical Center, Dr. Josefa Belia Memorial Hospital, Heart Center of the Philippines, and other hospitals with specializations in treating COVID-19 patients have also accommodated COVID-19 cases. The One Hospital Command is now spearheaded and led by Health Undersecretary Leopoldo Vega. It is also clear in the protocol that mild and asymptomatic cases will be brought to isolation facilities or in temporary treatment monitoring facilities to prevent COVID-19 referral facilities from being overwhelmed. The DOH assures that incentives will be given to hospitals that will expand their bed capacity to accommodate and treat COVID-19 cases. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A UNTV exclusive. The Philippine National Police says that there have been death cases among detainees recorded in various PNP detention facilities in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Our police correspondent Leah Ilagan reports why in this exclusive.
Since the country was placed under community quarantine due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of detainees in different PNP jails has increased. Some of them are violators of the minimum health protocols the government is implementing to curb coronavirus transmission. But IAS Inspector General Attorney Alfigar Triambolo says the PNP implemented the minimum health protocols in their jails.
Pag may nahuli kasi ng bago, hindi nila pinapasok agad sa kulungan. Nandoon muna sila sa makeshift or quarantine. Pag-ensure sila na walang mga sintomas, saka na nila na sinama doon sa mga nakadetaining na iba.
There are 14 detainees who are suspect cases for COVID-19, while 4 others have tested positive for the disease. One is from the National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO, and 3 are from Pro 4A or Calabar Zone.
May continuous sila na disinfection, tapos yung mga nagbabantay doon ay mga may health gear, no? So, tapos meron ding mga rapid testing, tapos yung mga suspected na COVID nag-symptoms, sila po yung nasa test. So, yan lang yung ginagawa. Kaya, na-control nila po yung paghawaan doon.
131 deaths among detainees from March 16 to June 30 this year. Causes of death include difficulty in breathing, heart attack, sepsis, pneumonia, COVID-19, and other sicknesses. The death cases among detainees were recorded in 11 police regional offices. 73 were from Calabarzon, 23 from Police Regional Office 3, 19 from NCRPO, 6 from Police Regional Office 7 or Central Visayas, 3 from Police Regional Office in Davao Region, 2 from Zamboanga Peninsula, 1 each from Ilocos Region, Mimaropa, and Bicol Region Police Offices, and 2 each from Northern Mindanao and Soxargen Regional Police Offices. Meanwhile, the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG confirms that the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology or BJMP released 21,858 persons deprived of liberty from March 17 to July 13 from 470 detention facilities across the country. They were released after posting bail, plea bargaining, through parole or after probation. More than 400 are elderly, 621 were sick, and 21 are pregnant. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the country's Foreign Affairs Department reports today 20 new confirmed cases in the Americas, Asia and the Pacific, and Europe. No new reports were received today from the Middle East. 2 more Filipinos abroad died from the disease. There were no new recoveries from COVID-19 among our nationals overseas. 3,149 of the cases are undergoing treatment, while a total of 5,369 have recovered or been discharged from hospitals. Death toll has reached 647. There are 69 countries and regions with Filipino COVID-19 cases as of today. 17 countries in the Asia and the Pacific region, 27 countries in the Middle East and Africa, 18 countries in Europe, and 7 nations in the Americas have reported COVID-19 cases among our kababayan. Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached close to 15 million confirmed cases. But that's after countries around the globe reported a total of more than 213,000 new confirmed cases. There is no addition to the 188 countries, regions, and sovereignty affected by the pandemic. The fast-spreading disease has claimed more than 616,000 lives after more than 4,000 new deaths were reported by various countries. A total of close to 8.5 million patients across the globe have recovered from the new coronavirus infection, thanks be to God.
Meanwhile, the country's Department of Health says that 1,594 new cases were reported today out of total tests done by 78 out of 89 laboratories. That raises the total confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in the Philippines to 72,269. Of the newly announced cases, 971 are from the National Capital Region, 252 from Cebu, 53 from Zamboanga del Sur. Negros Occidental reported 35 new cases, while Rizal has 26 new patients. The country has 46,803 total active cases. Of these, 90.1% are in mild condition, while 9.0% are asymptomatic. The severe and critical active cases are less than 1%. We have lost 6 more patients from Metro Manila, Regions 6 and 7, and from the Bangsamoro, bringing the death toll to 1,843. But through our fervent prayers, medical interventions, and sacrifices of our medical frontliners, 342 more people have won their battle against the invisible enemy. That brings the total recoveries nationwide to 23,623. Thanks be to God.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, reiterates that limited face-to-face classes are not compulsory. Joanne Nano tells us why.
A lot of students and parents have expressed their fears and worries as President Rodrigo Duterte allows the conduct of limited face-to-face classes amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. But the Department of Education reiterates that limited face-to-face classes are not mandatory. Instead, such classroom setup is an option for students to continue their learning despite the global health emergency. In today's episode of Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, Education Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio emphasized they will not force students to attend classes physically if they refuse to do so.
Yung kung pinapanindigan natin sa DepEd ay irirespeto po natin yung desisyon ng mga pamilya. So kahit po dun sa lugar na pinapayagan yung limited face-to-face, kung ang magulang po o ang bata mismo ay hindi komportable at nag-aagam-agam na pag siya ay nagpunta sa paaralan ay mai-expose siya sa COVID-19, papayagan pa rin po siyang ipagpatuloy ang pag-aaral ginagamit yung distance learning delivery modality.
The Education Department again clarifies that limited face-to-face classes will only be permitted in low-risk areas where there is less possibility of COVID-19 transmission. The agency adds this decision came following requests from local government units. However, schools must comply with strict health and safety protocols before would be allowed to conduct limited face-to-face classes. DepEd has yet to come up with protocols and implementing rules for this. The department again explained that limited face-to-face classes will happen on January 2021, which might be done twice a week. Although the enrollment period for the upcoming school year is officially over, DepEd says that late enrollees will still be accepted in public schools. DepEd again appeals to the public not to spread fake news that will only cause fear and confusion and hinder the students from pursuing their education amid the pandemic. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Marikina school decided to use a local school's e-learning platform for distance learning in the upcoming school year. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
Jesus de la Peña National High School is known as the center for e-learning in the city of Marikina. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the school has been implementing distance learning among its students. That has given ample experience and modules for online learning and blended learning program of the Department of Education. According to Antonio Andres, the school principal, the pilot program of e-learning in the school was implemented back in 2013 and then fully implemented in 2015.
Ito actually ay nilikha para dun sa mga walang kakayanan pumasok ng regular. Maaring sila ay may trabaho, maaring sila ay malayo ang lugar, at saka ito po ay sagot dun sa kakulangan actually ng kwarto noong mga panahon na yon.
With knowledge and experience, teachers in Jesus de la Peña National High School are in charge of doing online seminars or webinars for all grade 7 to grade 12 teachers from Marikina's 15 other public schools. More than 1,000 teachers from different schools in Marikina joined the 3-day e-learning webinar.
Unti-unting nagiging handa ng mga teacher at nararamdaman namin yung kagustuhan ng bawat isa, lalo na ng mga teacher, na gawin talaga, i-embrace o yakapin yung mga pagbabagong nagaganap ngayon, lalo na sa magiging pagtuturong online distance.
The webinar tackled how to conduct online teaching, things to prepare, as well as how to use the e-learning platform for teachers and students. The Jesus de la Peña National High School is funded by the city government of Marikina. Next week, the school plans to conduct a simulation for online classes for a view of the actual situation that may happen during the conduct of online classes using the e-learning platform. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, it has been noticeable that many Filipinos are shifting to bicycles as a mode of transport when going to their workplaces. This as public transport remains limited due to the ongoing threat of COVID-19. Earlier today, I interviewed Bernard Borjal, 32-year-old construction worker who has been riding his bicycle to work since March when community quarantine measures began. He said that it takes him over 1 hour from his house in C5 in Taguig to his workplace in Bicutan. He added that using a bicycle is one way to save money. Although he takes extra precaution when cycling along highways, he says it would be much safer if protected bike lanes were installed.
Po ngayon, mahirap kasi sumakay, mahirap mag-commute. Saka isa na rin pong paraan para makatipid pamasahe.
The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, supports a non-motorized alternative mode of transportation for Filipino employees. In fact, in a Senate hearing yesterday, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said they can conduct a survey to know how many Filipino workers are in need of bicycles. According to the Labor Secretary, they are looking into tapping international and local donations to make this happen.
Through the labor unions, we can conduct a survey as to how many workers are in need of bicycles. Our department explores the possibility of tapping the offer of Japanese businessmen for a donation of Shimano bike, and we are exploring this possibility also in various countries through our follows for the optional use of employees.
Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, is studying the hybrid bike lanes along EDSA to adjust on narrow roads.
So nung layout namin, nakita namin na may mga portions na maliit, makitid, may mga portions na maluwag. So it's either gagawa tayo ng rampa para sumampa sila sa bangketa or tapyasin natin yung bangketa para lumuwag yung bike lane. Anyway, lahat yan pinag-iisipan pa ng mga traffic engineering natin tsaka sa DPWH kung anong magandang alternative na gagawin.
Last month, the MMDA started painting the lines for the proposed protected bike lanes on EDSA from Cubao to Ayala. According to MMDA EDSA Traffic Czar Bong Nebrija, steel railings will be installed to protect the bikers. The official says they have recorded only 2 accidents along EDSA involving bicycles last month. While the bike lanes have yet to materialize, Nebrija continues to remind cyclists to apply on EDSA to take caution, wear protective gears, and bring plenty of water. Aside from this, the MMDA is also pushing for the crafting of a bike law.
Kasi maganda kung bike law kasi it will be national, So pare-pareho tayo ng standard. So kahit pumunta ka ng Iloilo or nagpunta ka ng Cebu, Davao, may bike lane doon, pareho tayong sinusunod na batas,
Meanwhile, bike racks have been installed in some stations of MRT Line 3 and LRT Line 2. According to the Department of Transportation, travelers can use the bike rack for free. The MRT 3 plans to install 34 bike racks in all of its stations.
The city government of Pagadian in Zamboanga del Sur temporarily prohibits the wearing of helmets among motorcycle riders and back riders. Through City Council's resolution number 2020-059, helmet-colored face masks, goggles, balaclava face mask, and other pieces of clothing that would cover the face of a rider and his back rider are banned, with exemption of surgical masks due to the existing threat of COVID-19. The resolution was based on the recommendation of the Pagadian City Police Office brought about by a rise in crime incidents, which often involve riding in tandem criminals with their helmets on. The order encompasses all of Pagadian City's urban barangays. Damaged vehicle plate numbers are also not allowed.
Jago and William, we are on board the UNTV radio mobile booth and we are here in IBP Road in Quezon City. Let's take a look at the situation on the road. For motorists coming from Commonwealth Avenue going to Litex, expect a light to at times moderate traffic. Meanwhile, on the other side of the road, we also have a light to at times moderate traffic for vehicles coming from Litex going to Commonwealth Avenue to Fairview. And for our weather update, a low-pressure area has been spotted east of Surigao del Sur. State Weather Bureau Pagasa says as of 3 in the afternoon, the LPA was spotted 760 kilometers east of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur, and embedded in the Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ. Because of this, cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms may prevail over Davao Region, Soxargen, and Palawan. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers due to the ITCZ and localized thunderstorms. Possible flash floods or landslides may occur during severe thunderstorms. No tropical cyclone advisory is issued. Meanwhile, the Department of Education has released its recommendations on gadgets that students could use in distance learning. But computer experts recommend desktop computers above all other options. Asher Kadapan Jr. will join us tonight to tell us why live. Yes, Asher.
Harleen, according to the Department of Education or DepEd, students under distance learning may use a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer, but there's a minimum specification or specs recommended for every type of gadget. Smartphones should have at least an octa-core processor, which helps speed up overall performance of the phone, and the cheapest branded unit available in the market may cost about 5,000 pesos. If one prefers a bigger screen, then a tablet with at least a quad-core processor is recommended and may cost about 6,500 pesos. But for those who can spend more money, a desktop or laptop computer is advisable to be used in distance learning, and the DepEd recommended computer costs about 15,000 pesos and up. And between desktops and laptops, engineer graduate Johnny Ranile highly recommends desktops as the most efficient equipment to use above all the gadgets. Here's what he can say about these equipment.
Kasi po pag laptop, mas mabilis po kasing masira, lalo na pag mga bata pa. Advantage lang naman po kasi ng laptop, mobility. Pwede nyo kahit sandalin. Pero kung sasabihin natin performance-wise, at saka upgradability, at saka yung longevity ng paggamit nyo, sa desktop po talaga ako nagsasuggest sa kanila.
Harleen?
Asher, since there are a lot of households who cannot afford a brand new phone right now, can a student buy a refurbished phone for a cheaper option?
Harleen, we talked to a couple of gadget store owners, and they advise buying refurbished phones from a trusted supplier only, and to make sure of the equipment's warranty. The longer the warranty period, the better. Harleen.
All right, thank you so much, Asher Kadapan Jr. for that report. A new resolution seeking to investigate the deaths of several high-profile inmates at the New Bilibid prison has been filed at the Senate. Senator Risa Hontiveros filed today Resolution number 473 in a bid to address questions that are being raised surrounding the deaths of high-profile inmates allegedly due to COVID-19. Last Monday, the Department of Justice has confirmed that drug convict J.B. Sebastian and 8 other high-profile inmates have died due to the coronavirus disease. According to the lady senator, the alleged corruption in the Bureau of Corrections, as revealed in previous Senate investigations, and the seemingly secretive and immediate disposal of remains cast doubt over the deaths of the high-value inmates. Senate President Vicente Soto III has earlier filed a similar resolution.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening. What have you got for us tonight?
Good evening, William.
More than 7,000 people who were in locations visited by an infected Egyptian serviceman in Rayong and the infected daughter of a Sudanese diplomat in Bangkok have tested negative for COVID-19, and health authorities here report zero local transmission, now in the 58th day. Also, I will tell you why New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern dismissed one of her ministers, and why the Ford Motor Company has issued 3 safety recalls in North America for more than 20,000 vehicles.
Go ahead, Kath. Please tell us why.
Between July 14 and 19, 6,501 people who might have been exposed to the new coronavirus underwent tests, and all were negative, according to the Department of Disease Control here in Thailand. Dr. Tawisil Puisano-Yotin, spokesman of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, said on Tuesday that another 279 people in Rayong who were also tested returned negative results. They had either been at the hotel where the infected soldier had stayed or one of the shopping malls he and other Egyptian servicemen visited. In Bangkok, more than 300 people were tested and there were no infections. Now, on its 58th day of zero local transmission, the Thai government reported 6 new cases today of the coronavirus disease among quarantined returnees, taking the total to 3,261, with 3,105 recovered, 98 still in hospital, and the death toll has topped at 58. Elsewhere in Hong Kong, effective Wednesday midnight, it is now mandatory for residents to wear face masks in all indoor public areas. Anyone flouting the rules could face a 5,000 Hong Kong dollars or $645 maximum fine. Venues like gyms and entertainment centers will remain closed until 28th of July. A ban on dining in restaurants after 6 p.m. will also be in place until then. According to Health Secretary Sophia Chan, this is the most critical time for Hong Kong. The government asks its citizens to be patient and stay at home as much as possible, she added. In recent weeks, the city has seen a spike in cases. As of today, Hong Kong has more than 2,000 confirmed coronavirus cases, with more than 1,300 recoveries and less than 20 deaths. Governor of Sao Paulo, Brazil, João Doria, says he went to a local hospital to witness the launch of Phase 3 clinical trial on a COVID-19 vaccine. He was pertaining to CoronaVac, an inactivated vaccine candidate intended to protect against COVID-19. CoronaVac is developed by the Butantan Institute in partnership with Chinese vaccine maker Sinovac Biotech Laboratory. He says this is one of the most promising vaccines available today. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern today dismissed Workplace Relations and Immigration Minister Ian Lees-Galloway over allegations he had an inappropriate relationship with a former staffer. The Lady Prime Minister confirmed she was informed of the matter by opposition National Party leader Judith Collins and said her office later received an email from a third party making the allegations. Lees-Galloway is the second senior minister to leave Ardern's office this month after Health Minister David Clark quit following slip-ups in the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and personal mistakes.
He has shown a lack of judgment over a period of 12 months. In undertaking this relationship, he has opened himself up to accusations of improperly using his office. He has not modelled the behaviour I expect as a minister that is in charge of setting a standard and culture as Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety. His actions have ultimately led me to lose my confidence in him as a minister.
Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases in countries worst hit by the pandemic. The United States of America now has a total of more than 3.9 million confirmed COVID-19 cases as of today, while trailing the USA, still Brazil, now has close to 2.2 million positive cases, but more than 1.5 million of those have recovered from the disease. Now South Africa slowly rose to number 5 in this tally, with number of confirmed cases surpassing 380,000, including deaths of more than 5,000 patients. Meanwhile, while the head of the Pan American Health Organization says the virus shows no signs of slowing down in the Americas, which have so far reported more than 7 million of the world's total confirmed coronavirus cases. And in other news, the Ford Motor Company has issued 3 safety recalls in North America for more than 20,000 vehicles. In a news release, Ford says that one safety recall impacts more than 19,200 select 2016-20 Lincoln MKX and Nautilus vehicles with 16-way power seats. In affected vehicles, there might be insufficient clearance between the driver and/or front passenger seat wiring harness and the seat cushion pan, which could cause wiring harness abrasion, Ford said. In certain wires in the seat are damaged, the airbag system might not deploy during an accident, which would increase the risk of injury. Ford said it is not aware of any reports of accidents or injuries related to this recall. The second safety recall by Ford is for select 2021 Ford F-60 and F-750 vehicles with a 7.3-liter engine. Affected vehicles were built without certain thermal protection components intended to reduce the interior cabin floor and seat attachment temperatures, Ford said. The final recall impacts only 68 select 2020 Ford Escape and Transit vehicles. Ford said some curtain airbag may not inflate properly during deployment, increasing the risk of injury during a crash. To see if a vehicle has any open recalls, the Vehicle Identification Number or VIN can be entered into a tool provided by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And those are the reasons behind the news here in Thailand and in other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Kath, and you stay safe there in Thailand.
No city open will be held in Washington, D.C. in August this year. Aaron Romero tells us why.
The Association of Tennis Professionals, or ATP, and the organizers of the City Open have announced the cancellation of the 2020 City Open in Washington, D.C. next month. The ATP 500 event was scheduled to begin on August 13. It would mark the planned resumption of the ATP Tour after the suspension of professional tennis in March. ATP Chairman Andrea Gaudenzi says in the ATP statement that for the moment there are still large factors at play which are outside of our control. They look forward to the City Open returning as one of our signature American events in 2021. Mark Ein, chairman of the City Open, meanwhile, says the decision was made in fairness to players, suppliers, and partners so that they can have certainty around their planning. External issues that led to the postponement include various international travel restrictions as well as troubling health and safety trends. The ATP says it continues to work on the revised 2020 calendar with a further update including the final section of the season to the NITO ATP Finals in November. The ATP also proceeds working closely with the United States Tennis Association, or USTA, on the Western and Southern Open and the US Open, which are scheduled to take place back-to-back in New York beginning on August 20. Aaron Romero, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, July 22, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Have a great evening, everyone.